Hey everyone, today we're making two cards. I have two videos back to back, one for Thanksgiving and one for Christmas. We'll start with the cozy Thanksgiving card and then we'll jump right into a festive Merriest Tree Christmas card. So stay tuned because right after this video pops up this video. Let's get started. Hi Stampers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Nancy Novak and today I'm going to share a Thanksgiving card made using the Cake Fancy stamp set. We're also going to use some of this pretty designer series paper. This is the Country Lace designer series paper. This is just two pieces out of that set. It's in that pretty peach pie color. And then I have a piece of the glimmer paper that we're also going to use. It's really going to add a really nice pop to our Thanksgiving card. So let's get started. So this is the card we're going to make. I thought it was really cute to create a pumpkin pie for a Thanksgiving card. And the sentiment is time for pie. And if you'll notice, the set has time for, and of course, they're thinking you're going to put cake or birthday wishes or time for your special day. But I created pie, and I'm going to show you the little trick that I used to create that. So the supplies I have are a piece of peach pie that is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it in half at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside and Very Vanilla for the front. And then I have the designer series paper. So I have two different pieces, pattern pieces of that designer series paper that we're going to use. And I have two pieces that I cut out of the glimmer paper. I have a scrap of peach pie, a scrap of Very Vanilla, and a larger scrap of Very Vanilla. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this scrap, and I'm going to bring in my deckled dies. Now, you know, I've used these a lot. I find that they're very versatile for any card that you're making. So I'm going to cut out 2 circles out of the Very Vanilla. And then on this front piece, I'm going to bring in the eyelet embossing folder, and I'm going to put that right through the machine and give the front of our card some nice texture. Don't forget, I fast forward. I will be right back. Okay, so I have my 2 circles and my pretty textured piece. And I'm going to go ahead and lay that textured piece right on the front, get that done really quick. And then on these pieces here, we're going to go ahead and lay our designer series paper right on top, right in the center. We have a little bit of a border, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue those pieces on also. You'll notice I used a little bit of extra glue because I'm gluing to glimmer paper, so I want to make sure it really, really sticks. So I added more glue than I normally would on just cardstock, but now it'll stick really nicely. Okay, so I'm going to bring in our circle, and I'm going to bring in our stamps, and we're going to create that pumpkin pie. So for the cake base or the pie plate, I'm going to use copper clay, and I'm going to stamp right there at the bottom of that circle. Just like that. And it's a textured stamp, so it's going to have a little bit of light coloring and dark coloring, but that's the way it's supposed to look. And the same thing with our pie that we're going to create. It has a little bit of texturing to it, so it makes it look very realistic. So now I'm going to take ink in peach pie, and I'm going to take our little rectangle piece, which is going to create our pie. I'm going to stamp it right on top of our pie plate. Just like that. And now I'm going to take the top of the pie, and again, I'm going to ink it up in peach pie. So there is our piece of pumpkin pie. It looks so good, but we need to add our little dollop of whipped cream. And to do that, I'm going to bring in that scrap of peach pie, and I'm going to bring in Versamark. And the stamp set has lots of different toppings, and we're going to use that little dollop right there to create whipped cream. So I'm going to ink it up in Versamark. And I have some white embossing powder, and I'm going to sprinkle it on there. Then I'm going to heat it up with the heat tool, and that will create our little whipped cream. So there it is. I'm just going to fussy cut that out real quick. And then I'm going to attach that with a little bit of glue right on top of our piece of pie. Okay, so let's put the front of our card together. And I just want to mention before we go any further that starting today, Stampin' Up! Has a 3-day sale. It's called the seasonal sale. It has 20% off of bundles, 20% off designer series paper. So you could pick up that country lace designer series paper for a deal. It's got 10% off of cardstock and 10% off of ink. So again, that's only for 3 days, but I wanted to make sure you knew about that. We all love sales. Okay, so let's put the front of this together. So this piece is going to go just like that, and I'm going to glue it down to the front of the card. Okay, this piece is going to go here, and I'm going to pop it up, and I'm also going to tie a bow around that. So we'll put dimensionals in the 4 corners and 1 in the middle. And before I stick that down, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some ribbon and tie a little bow right on the end. Okay, so this is going to be stuck down with dimensionals right there, kind of in the bottom portion of our card. And our pie is going to go right here, so I'm going to glue that down. I'm just going to glue it in the center here because it's a little bit popped up on the bottom and the top. I'm just going to glue it here, and that's going to be plenty to keep it stuck there. And then I'm going to show you how we created our sentiment up here in the top. Okay, so here's our little circle that we're going to put our sentiment on. And I'm going to bring in a scrap, and I'm going to bring the sentiment in from Cake Fancy that says Time For, and I'm going to stamp that in copper clay. Okay, just like that. We're going to cut that out so it's fine just where it is. Now I'm going to bring in a stamp from Round We Go. It says Happiest Birthday, and I'm going to stamp that on this scrap right here. Okay, here's where we do our little trick where we're going to cut out our words. So we're going to cut out Time For. And then here, I'm just going to cut out the word pie right in the middle of happiest. And then here's our little circle, and we're going to glue our words right on that little circle. Just like that. Isn't that cute? I love that. So we're going to pop this up, and then we're going to put a couple of rhinestones on the front, and then we're going to finish the inside real quick. Okay, these are some rhinestones that I had in my stash. They're the champagne rhinestones. You can use whatever you have. You could even use the regular rhinestones. You can color in those rhinestones too. So that's one of my favorite things about the basic rhinestones is that you can color them in to be any color you like. Okay, so far so good, right? Okay, so let's bring this inside piece in. And I have a piece of that designer series paper, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it right at the bottom. You always have a lot of little scraps left over, so it's a perfect way to decorate the inside of your card. Then I'm going to bring in a sentiment from Unbounded Love, and I'm going to stamp Have a Blessed Day. So how do you like that for a Thanksgiving Day card? I thought it was something unique and different. Very, very pretty. I love the glimmer paper. And the Country Lace Designer Series paper is really, really a nice accent to this card. And then Have a Blessed Day. So you got room for your little note, Happy Thanksgiving, or whatever you want to say, and sign your name. So I want to bring up that in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be using these 3 bundles. So if you want to grab those in anticipation of what the future videos are that I have coming up, you might want to do that while it's on sale. So thanks for crafting with me on this Thanksgiving card. Don't go far. We're jumping right into some Christmas fun next with the Merriest Tree Set. Let's keep the holiday spirit going. Welcome back. And if you just watched the Thanksgiving card tutorial, thanks for joining me again. Now let's dive right into some Christmas card fun with the Merriest Tree Set. So this stamp set has the coordinating dies, which has so many things. Not only does it have all the trees that you can cut out and layer, it has stars, it has snowflakes, and it has this nice tag that you can make tags. And also stay to the end, because I'm going to show you lots of other cards that I made using the merriest trees. And I'll also have a link to a video that I did making some Christmas card tags with this set. So anyways, lots of dies, lots of fun ornaments and everything you can think of. So it is really a very versatile Christmas set. And for tonight, let's bring in our supplies. So I'm using a card base of garden green. And if you'll notice, it's cut a little differently. So it's called the Fun Fold. And don't forget, I will have a project sheet for you. I always have project sheets for all of my YouTube videos. You can get that, and I can send it right to your email just by signing up for my newsletter. Or also there's a link down in the description below this video. So anyways, we have a card base of garden green, and inside piece of white. This is going to be our stamping piece for our tree. Then we have some pretty designer series paper. This is the Reindeer Fun designer series paper. And by the way, Stampin' Up! Is having a sale for 3 days only, starting today, November 13th, 14th, and 15th. 20% off bundles, 20% off designer series paper, 10% off of cardstock, and 10% off of ink. And the ink we're using tonight is Garden Green and Granny Apple Green. So I also have a little scrap of silver, the silver foil, and I'm going to bring in that die set, and we're going to cut out this piece right here, which is going to give us the decorative strings for our Christmas tree. And then we're going to cut out the smaller star. It also has a large star. So I'm going to cut those out really quick, and I will be right back. Don't forget, I fast forward, so you don't need to go anywhere. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut those pieces out. There's my little star. And the strings are all right there. I'm going to leave them in here so I don't lose them. There's even this little teeny tiny one. And when we're all done with our card, we'll put the pretty little decorative strings on our Christmas tree. Okay, so the first thing I can do is go ahead and glue that pretty designer series paper to the front of our card. Okay, then we'll do a little bit of stamping. We're going to take these two pieces, and we're going to take that white rectangle, and then this is our inside piece, and we're going to stamp our sentiments. So I'm going to use Garden Green, and on the smaller rectangle over to the left, I'm going to use that cute little stamp right here. It's in the shape of a Christmas tree, and it says, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." Pretty. Oh, beautiful. Then on this piece, which is going to be our inside piece, we're going to stamp the sentiment that comes with the set that says, "Hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season." And we're going to stamp right in the middle of this. It has to be right in the middle, because when we get our card all done, we want to make sure that this part is covered up, because it is a fun fold. It's only a half fold. But as long as you stamp it in the middle, it's going to be perfect. Okay, now let's continue our stamping. We'll bring in this little scrap here, and we'll bring in the great big Christmas tree. It's a solid Christmas tree, and we also have a great big stamp that has the detail. So I'm going to bring in Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to bring in my mat. And because this is a photopolymer stamp, and it's really big, I want to make sure I get a nice even stamp, and by using this little cushion, it's going to help. So I'm going to go ahead, and since this is such a big stamp, I'm going to take the ink pad to the stamp and just ink it up like this. Okay, I can pick it up and look at it. It looks pretty good. I can give it a couple more little stamps there. Okay, I'm going to stamp right in the middle of this scrap piece of white. I'm going to hold it there and let the ink saturate, because it is a solid stamp. And there you go. Beautiful, right? So now let's take the darker green, which is Garden Green, and we'll bring in that detailed stamp. So this has all the little detail to it. And we're going to stamp in the darker color, which is Garden Green. Remember, this first color was Granny Apple Green. So I'm just making sure I have all of this covered up with ink. Looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to stamp right in the middle of our stamped image here. Ooh, isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, now we're going to cut that out with the largest die. So that's this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and I will be right back. That's what our tree looks like cut out. Isn't it cute? So pretty. I love anything to do with Christmas trees for my Christmas cards. So let's bring this base piece back in, and I can go ahead and put the inside piece in. And you know what this stamp also has? The stamp set also has a little snowflake die. And I just thought I'll take the lighter green, the granny apple green, and before I glue this in, I think I'll just put a little snowflake right there. Just something simple. You know what else I'm going to do? Didn't do this on my first card, but I'm going to bring the darker green, the garden green in, and I'm going to bring in that detailed stamp and a scrap sheet. And I'm going to stamp right over here on the left side of this card with that detailed stamp and see what it looks like. I think it'll look really pretty. Oh yeah, that's cool. I like that. Very pretty. I think I'll put one on the other side too. Pretty. Well, now I got to do a couple other little snowflakes. So again, this is in the granny apple green. How's that for inside? That's pretty. Okay, so let's finish putting this together. And this is going to show now, since I put this, let me show you my first card. So over here we have nothing because I just stamped right in the center there. But this one's going to have a little bit of detail showing through. So if you like that, great. If you don't, just skip that part. Okay, so for these two pieces, I'm going to go ahead and glue them together. Okay, and that's going to go on the front of our card just like that. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. I'm going to lay this right where I want it to be when it's all done. And I'm only going to put dimensionals on the left side here, just like that. Then I'm going to take the backing off and go ahead and stick that to the front of our card. And you know what? I like that that shows through. I think that's really pretty. It's not going to show that much anyways because we're going to have our Christmas tree right here. So what we need to do is we need to glue the Christmas tree just onto the flap right here, this part here. And so I'm just going to put glue on the middle part of this tree, just on the 3 inner layers of the tree. And it's going to go just like that. Okay, now I'm going to bring in that star. And the easiest way to put the star on is just put a little dab of glue up at the top of the tree. You don't need to put it on the back of the star. It's easier to put it right at the tip of the Christmas tree. Just like that. And before we put on all our Christmas decorations, I'm going to bring in some of this silver ribbon and put a little bow right down here. So I'm just going to make a quick and easy bow. I think I'll make a bow with the rabbit ears. Okay, so far so good, right? Pretty, 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 pretty. And now let's put on our little decorations, our little strings. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. And here are my little strings. And I'm going to bring in my little tweezers. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back of all these little pieces, and I'm going to dab it on my silicone mat. Okay, so I dabbed most of the glue off of those little teeny tiny pieces. And you just take your little tweezers and pick that little piece up. That way your fingers don't get all gluey. And we're going to lay it on our Christmas tree. Easy peasy, right? And then you know this, I let it dry a little bit to clean it, and then I just bring in a little lint roller brush and then just roll it on there, and all that glue comes off and it's ready for your next project. So that's so quick and easy. And I think lastly I'll put on a couple of little rhinestones. And our Christmas fun fold is all done. So pretty. Now, wasn't that easy to put on those little decorations? And then inside, hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season. So there's the first one, and there's the one I had made. Let me show you a couple of other cards that I have using this Merriest Tree Set. And again, don't forget about the Stampin' Up! Sale. Designer Series paper, bundles, 20% off, cardstock, and ink. So I know you all love sales, so I want to make sure you know about that. So here is a card that I made, and I just cut out white Christmas trees, and I used the detail stamp to add detail to the white trees. And I texturized it with the falling snow embossing folder. And I stamped a little tree inside. And then here's same thing, same technique, except for this is embossed. So it's a white tree, and I put gold embossing powder on that. So I put the little snowflakes with the little stars on there. Really pretty in gold. And then here's one I made with Designer Series paper. This is the Take a Bow or Take a Bow Designer Series paper. That's a great Christmas pack if you're interested in that. Again, that should be 20% off tomorrow or today through Friday. And here's another one I did with Designer Series paper. So these are the trees are just a little bit smaller. And then here's the big tree with Designer Series paper. Now in this one, I cut out each layer because I used all the different dies, the 5 dies that are in the set. And I cut out each layer and just kind of layered them right on top of each other and created a great big Christmas tree. And then lastly, I took the sentiment and I embossed it on the front of a green Christmas tree. And I used the tag for the focal point. So I hope you liked all of today's cards. Go ahead and leave me some comments. Don't forget to get your project sheet. And if you want to see more cards or more ideas using the tag, just watch that video right there and let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.